Grotts and gitz, how are you all doing? This is Or coming to you with some more Dawn of War 3 action. Here's a 1v1 between some very well-known players. Spawning here as the Emperor's chosen in some rather smashingly colored garb here. It's going to be VindicareX. He's bringing to the fray an Imperial Knight Paladin as a possible elite, Gabriel Angelos, and Librarian Jonah Orion. In terms of doctrines, he's got Tireless, Improved Listening Post, and Emperor's Influence. Now, his opponent spawning up here in the northeastern side, playing as the Eldar, it's going to be Bikerushownz. We've seen him before. He's another top player, of course. He's bringing on in Farseer Maka, Jane Czar, and the Wraith Knight. And it's kind of fun, because I don't see too often, I don't get the Wraith Knight very often, mostly because of the elite points required to bring it on in. In terms of doctrines, he's bringing along Adventure Shield, Improved Listening Post as well, and Improved Plasma Grenades. Now, I'm going to be putting this over from the side of VindicareX, just because there's a lot of flack these days that
Scout squad en route.
That the Space Marines are too good, that they want to get the late game, it's too much of a, it's like an easy win. But I promise you, this particular game is quite the nail biter, I promise.
We've taken a resource point.
Alright, we are already going to see that there are a couple of Dire Avenger squads on out here, and the Space Marines will be taking a slight resource advantage, taking away one of the expansion resource points from the Eldar. And you can see very early on, we're not actually going to see a quick two tactical Marine start. Instead, we're going to be having some more scouts coming on in, as well as a Assault Marines and a drop pod. Now, one thing to note about these current Space Marines, while this action goes on here, is that the Space Marines, first of all, with this Tireless Doctrine, there's a little bit of a change happening here. It is no longer kicking it absolutely immediately, which is kind of nice. You see right there, it will go and move now, but they have to be out of combat now for 15 seconds before it kicks in. There was a lot of concern from people that it was just happening all too fast, and that was definitely more than a little bit of a crazy buff for the Space Marines. And indeed, you'll see it start kicking back in pretty darn soon. And that's a little tooltip for you, just kind of give you guys a heads up there. Now, you did see some Dark Reapers coming out over here for Bikerushownz. You can also notice the fact that he's got no Bone Singers. Both of them got picked off by these kind of marauding tactical squads. And the Assault Marine squad, I think Toots got in on it. I think that's the Bone Singer right there. He got tossed in the way, just kind of as a meat shield, which is quite a shame. Now, the first thing that you kind of notice, you see that the generators are not being attacked immediately, and you can kind of understand that after a fashion. But then you do see that there's VindicareX is going to be attacked and just completely pwned by Improved Plasma Grenades, Banshees, and now these Dark Reapers, which are going to be able just to do crazy amounts of damage and forces Assault Marines away. And with that standard down, the Assault Marines don't have, the Assault Marines as well as the Tactical Marines don't have a lot of durability. You see that happening right here. Those poor sods get sent to the Emperor's side with very little in the way of well wishes. Now, of course, there are a couple of squads of scouts on the map, but the problem with the scouts is that they do almost next to nothing in terms of damage. And against even Dire Avengers, the Dire Avengers you can see right here, 32 DPS by comparison, not going to be what you want to bring a couple of scout squads into. These guys are here to be just kind of shifting on the map, keeping tabs on everything. See down here that there's a Bone Singer going after this generator. Very valiant attempt there. And interestingly, there's a very quick Improved Listening Post going up on top of the Elite Point Generator. And what's more, the Elite Point Generator has been made in the first place. Bikerushownz has not gone for his own Elite Point Generator, instead preferring to just put pressure, it seems, out on his opponent's resource positions. Now, this was a good hit, trying to take out that kind of advanced and, by all rights, Eldar position. See it being capped out right about now. Also worth noting, we have a warrior portal way the heck up here, as well as a webway gate. Now, keep in mind, guys, this whole relocate thing does not happen until Tier 2, which, is more than fair, but I kind of feel like this very advanced webway is honestly going to pretty fantastic position. You have the warrior portal here to kind of reinforce it super quickly. And right now, you've taken out one of your opponent's key units for the time being, so you might as well get as much usage from it as possible. Scouts breaking concealment so that we can throw a couple of rounds down at the generators. But kind of a dumb idea when all is said and done. However, we are going to see Jonah Orion will be hitting the field pretty darn soon. And where is he coming on in? There we go. So if these scouts can survive just long enough, here comes, I'm going to guess, maybe that whole shield wall thing going on? Stone wall. No stone wall here. Alright, he's not stone walling, folks. But that would have been pretty darn good. No, one thing to keep in mind is that now that he's here, the standard actually does go and get that lovely stone wall by itself, which gives fantastic utility to the Space Marine standard. What's more, considering the standard itself already has reduced cooldown, it's kind of fantastic. It's going to work out really darn well. Now, one thing that's always kind of surprised me is the Howling Banshees should be able to take out the Space Marines, the Assault Marines, excuse me, in close combat. I don't know if I really kind of feel that's really either an accurate representation of the universe or what, but it just seems a little bit strange to me. Jonah Orion, in the meantime, comes up, takes a couple pot shots at the Dire Avengers and those Dark Reapers. The Dark Reapers almost look like they should be something like, I don't know, Noise Marines or something like that from Dawn of War 2. They look like they have like blast casters on them.
Assault Marines under attack!
So the Assault Marines, in the meantime, are getting kind of crushed, and two more are going to be coming on in, one from the barracks, one from a drop pod, and you just saw it just now, Farseer Maka is on the field. She also did take out the last couple of models from that one scout squad. Take a quick look in terms of teching. He is not there yet, still has a lot of everything, really. And I believe and the Eldar are nowhere near it either.
What task can this the standard flies.
Now, considering that he has... okay. Stonewall's happened over here, so Farseer Maka is stuck, at least for the moment. But she's not going to be taking a lot of fire because of that, being where it is. And the Eldar are taking advantage of the relatively few Space Marines to come on out here, bash this listening post, and really should be able to bash these gens pretty easily too. Yep, that's one, and two's going to go down pretty easily. Assault Marines are coming in and on top of these Dark Reapers, though. These Dark Reapers need to be very careful. They actually need to get out of there right now. Luckily enough to get back into the whole Webway Gates fleet of foot, and that makes life a little bit easier for them. However, even as I say that, the drop pod comes on in with the Assault Marines, and that's going to be at least one Banshee squad going down, yes. And Farseer Maka is desperately trying to do some less AoE. Gets a decent throw out of her Singing Spear. I can never think what that's called. Psyker Blast. There we go. And she is pretty much saved by this improved listening post, so well done on that one. As, in addition, really. And then you'll see this is going to be happening throughout parts of this game here. This particular positioning here... Ooh. That actually has a lot of potential to be very good. Space Marines are going to take out the Webway Gate, but this positioning right here is going to be a constant source of engagement between these particular combatants. Webway Gate does go down, which gives, I would say, a small victory over to the Space Marines. They only have a few short squads by themselves, and you can see right now all of them are pretty damaged.
Stronghold upgraded to tier 2.
And I was just going to check that the CPU is upgrading, and there we go, so we have an upgrade there. And additionally, it's going to be another couple of minutes before we do see Gabriel Angelos, but when we do, that is not going to be a pretty sight for the Eldar. Let's take a quick look at the Eldar just to see what they've got. 3 Dark Reapers, Howling Banshee, and Dire Avengers with another Bone Singer coming on in. I don't think they've teched up yet either. No. No, they haven't. I don't think it's a mistake per se, but I think that you probably should be thinking about doing it before Escalation Phase 2 does hit. And we are coming up on that first phase change pretty darn soon here. Now, one thing's a little bit unfortunate is that those Dire Avengers, first of all, aren't going after this Servitor here, which seems like a poor decision. Now, they will pick him up right about now. Nope, never mind. I kind of thought they were going to pick him up, but I guess that will not be the case. Stun Bomb goes on out. And escalation phase 2 has now just hit. With assault marines jumping in every single direction here, on top of the banshees as well. Banshees might get beaten up, and in fact, will they even go down? Scouts are here just kind of giving some, very distracting fire from a distance, but these guys are here purely for utility, of course. I think that's an arsenal going down. Machine called. Where's that arsenal? There we go. That's what I was thinking of. Arsenal goes on down now. I don't think we're seeing anything similar coming out from the Eldar, doesn't look like. No, nothing yet anyway. We are going to see the Dire Avengers are hanging on around, which I don't think is the greatest idea either. I'm pretty sure those Banshees did go the way... Oh no, they survived, if only barely. I thought that had gone the way of the Dodo, but I guess that is not accurate. Actually, you want to know why that's the case? Because of freaking Farsi or Maka. Reminder, guys, of course, when Farsi or Maka, things... When she's on the field, it's going to be very, very frustrating, I think, for the Space Marine player. She's going to have that annoying little last chance bit, which gives her an incredible amount of durability, more or less, at least as far as Eldar go.
The arsenal is completed.
But it's very, very frustrating to play against, even as a late game cheat to win, whatever you want to call it, Space Marine player. Dark Reapers are going to take the high ground, as Gabriel Angelos does come on in. I wonder if Farseer Mach is going to chase after that. She certainly is taking apart the tactical squad. But Gabriel's coming on in. This guy is angry, and he's looking to go and get stuck in. 4,000 points of crazy normal attack, well, normal HP. And while these Dark Reapers are quite good at getting through that, very good DPS, if you bring them to bay, it's not going to be a particularly pretty sight, now will it?
Our holy standard is cast. None can stop me.
And you can see already, Gabriel Andrews is jumping up top. Stonewall comes in. Thank you so much, Jonah Orion. And let's remind ourselves, what does Gabriel Angelos do? So, when he has a Dreadnought, he gets a shield. Now, looking at that right now, are we going to see a Dreadnought immediately? No, we're going to see a Land Speeder. Not a bad decision necessarily, but I would have thought the Land Speeder would have, been exchanged in favor of a later post, or a later, I'm not entirely sure what to call it, but a later, making a later appearance, let's put it that way. Now, some Banshees did just go down, you can see right there, and that's actually only barely alive on some of these Dark Reapers. Probably going to happen here? Yep, there goes some death and destruction. But Jane Zara is here as well, so she is terrifying, good sirs, and, good ladies. Lance Speeder's popping on around. Those guys got pretty decent damage. First of all, 85 DPS, nothing to be sneezed at. And second of all, he can also get that Melt-A-Gun, which is pretty fantastic. But here's James Zara doing the whole assassin thing against Gabriel Angelos, and there's not much in the way to back him up. Just this Land Speeder. And I think what's going to be happening here is they're going to go get the last chance off on Farsi Maka. There we go. And now there's a jet bike up here as well for the Eldar, so that little Land Speeder needs to be careful. And another orbital drop. Okay, so another Land Speeder coming on in too, so that won't be too... Oh no, excuse me. Land Speeder is coming up, but Submarine's coming on down. Jeez. And there's that Melt-A-Gun that we were kind of terrified to see. Gabriel's going to go down for the moment, but I think as is this Land Speeder. But there goes one jet bike already. And this one I imagine is going to go down as well. Although we have these Dark Reapers doing crazy amounts of damage there. Now, I don't see Farsi Maka still on the map. I'm pretty sure she went down courtesy of Gabriel Angelos. And yes, there she is. Ooh, wow. 2 more jet bikes coming out, 4 Dark Reapers, and 1 Dire Avenger squad. And now we're going to see what this Land Speeder does best, which is basically harass and do a lot of just economic damage. Now, the good thing about the Eldar position is that they do have the listening post, which will delay and, I won't say completely push back, but it will cause a lot of problems for the Space Marines if they try to make an economic hit here. Ooh, and it's a mutually assured destruction. The jet bike goes down, but there goes that very delicately dying land speeder. Scouts are shifting on out, trying to find some weakness, as are the assault marines, and I'm surprised that the Eldar have not been more aggressive with all the units that they do have. Even if nothing else, they should be bashing these shield generators and improved listening posts like crazy. And also, we now know that they have tier 2, obviously, because they have... Oh my gosh, I keep calling them jet bikes. Vipers, excuse me, I'm so sorry. I'm not sure why I call them jet bikes, but I do. I think it's from the tabletop.
We have engaged a weak enemy force.
Infinity Portal in the meantime, also there, and weak force indeed. That was just a Bone Singer, so that guy is not ready. Bone Singer is definitely not ready.
We've spotted an enemy force.
And here come the Dark Reapers. They're gonna go and beat down quite a bit. Nope, never mind. There they don't. There's that stone wall, gonna keep it very, very safe for those Space Marines, and giving them enough time to go and just do some gen bashing, very, very calmly, of course. But that stone wall is pretty much the only thing in my mind that's keeping any of his units alive. I mean, having so many Dark Reapers, eventually they just start to hit a critical mass. Is just insane. And now we have Wraith Guards on the map as well. So I don't know if Jonah's going to make it out of here. It's going to be very, very difficult to see. And there we go. So Standard's going to come down.
A requisition generator is ready.
And doesn't perfectly hit them. They're still pretty darn good, I suppose. Going to go and blind out both of those Eldar heroes for them. Oh no, it's the Bone Singer. I'm not sure why I thought that was also going to be Farseer Maka. Even as we watch that happen, scouts get turned into a bouillabaisse of death. And we have, interestingly enough, Devastators with las cannons. Of course, seeing those Wraith Guard is probably a good idea to keep around.
Heavy bolter team deployed.
Some more Devastators, and bringing in some heavy bolters, even better still. These guys, 65 normal DPS, ridiculous. So damage in slow and a circle around their target, pretty fantastic. Las cannons, also worth noting, they have this whole little shield wall thing, which is great. But when you're fighting up against someone like Jain Zar, you don't want to be in melee, now do you? Yikes. So the shield only gets taken down immediately, and out of fear, the Assault Marines do kind of go down. I dare say we're going to see a very quick kill on top of the shield generator. Any moment. Wraith Guard, beastly good. Armor-piercing DPS, solid hits there. Whirlwind, in the meantime, is now on the field, which means that there is a good amount of damage to be done. You can see a lot of the health right there just now, as a result of that brave Whirlwind.
Dreadnought, readying for drop.
In the meantime, though, kind of an interesting thing, we are going to see a Death Storm drop pod coming on out, and not a particularly common...
Weak enemy force spotted.
Not a particularly commonly seen thing here. Jonah Orion is still out, guys. He is still safe. He's ready to go, and Gabriel Angelos is back on the field, but both Eldar are there as well. And it looks like we have heavy bolters as well as that listening post. Servantrum probably will go down. Yep, there he goes. Gets blasted to pieces. But his life is the Emperor's currency, so yeah. And more heavy bolters coming on out. So I can imagine having both of these guys setting up at the same time. You can just see Jain Zar getting carved to shreds. She's going to back away. It's a good decision there as well. And there was, for some reason, there was a webway gate right out in the open here. The Wraith Guard move around kind of like giant spidery people. I don't even know how to call that, but you know what? It's very, very strange how they move. Falcon has been called in for the Eldar, and just checking on this, the relative strength between the two, the Eldar really should be pushing their advantage right now. They have an incredible numerical advantage, and while he does lose one squad of Wraith Guard, he should be able to push quite, even more significantly to take out tech structures, and, well, even this one right here, this is a fairly easy tech structure to hit. And yet, he's not really going for it. And like I said, all of this massive amount of material right here. First of all, Soul Recall, pretty fantastic. But getting back over here to this particular fight, well, Jonah Orion and Gabriel Angelos probably just want to be dancing from a distance here. What's more, though, we have these heavy bolters, and they're not going to be able to hit a whole lot. Whirlwind does something very, very proper and hangs back quite a bit. And now here comes a shooting gallery for those heavy bolters, though. Just check out how quickly the health just vanishes from the Eldar. It's actually kind of surprising to me already that... There we go, there's one down. There goes another Bone Singer. There goes that entire Falcon. And with a Dreadnought kind of dropped in, as well as this Deathstorm turret, 466 DPS. Insanity. Insanity. Doing tons of good damage over here to the shield. Probably gonna take that out pretty darn quickly. Landspeeder comes on in. It has a melted gun, but he's not gonna last too long if he keeps shifting on forwards. But Webway Gate will go down in the meantime as well. Have they even teched away from that? The relocate opportunity?
Servitor deployed.
No, they haven't done that. Or at least, oops, no, not looking in the right area for that. My bad. But shield generator going on down, giving VindicareX a good hefty chunk of requisition and power, and putting him ever so close to getting that Imperial Knight Paladin. Checking over on the Eldar, they have not had that shield, that elite point generator for the same amount of time that the Space Marines have. So, yeah, a couple of points behind there. Now, the poor Dark Reapers, I say poor, but they've been kind of devastating so far, get caught on out just as they get set up, so it's a bit of a shame there. And now, even more terrifying, Wraithguard are pounding into those Assault Marines, making them wish they had never been born, and indeed trying very hard to make that so.
The enemy has started to build a structure.
Jane Czar is doing her thing, though, jumping in the middle of everybody, and she's going to completely carve everyone to pieces. Those Assault Marines by themselves might even go down.
Heavy bolter team
He's used both of their abilities, okay. Frustratingly, even though more for the Space Marine player, thanks to the Psyker Blast and the Singing Spear, all of those Devastators just getting wrecked by her. And what's more, that poor Dreadnought, he goes back to the Emperor's side, going for a second death indeed. And here we go, boys. I'm looking forward to this Paladin hitting the field. Alright, so he doesn't have the same kind of crazy missile barrages as something like Solaria does, but he has a bunch of very nifty abilities by himself, and frankly, does crazy amounts of DPS, whether in melee or from range. So check that out real quick. So he has an Ion Shield that reduces the amount of damage that he takes from a particular direction. He also has a Piercing Shot, and he also has the Reaper Chain Sword Sweep. There's like something else too. What was the other thing? He always does weird, strange things. Okay, so he kills a vehicle elite. He gets a cooldown reduction in both Ion Shield and also gets charges of Piercing Shot. Now, forgive me for not being the most fluent with him. Like I said, you don't often see him, basically because he costs so dang much, and everyone and their mother's in love with Solaria, at least in my humble experience. Landspeeder continues to survive and harass this entire position over here, with the improved listening post slowly getting chunks battered off of it by Gabriel Angelos. The problem with that is that the entire Eldar force is coming on over here. Ooh, but reflecting shots right back the other direction. Let's be honest, that's pretty freaking fantastic. And very, very quickly, the Landspeeder is rushing away to the upper corner of the map, and Gabriel's going to go down anyway, though. The brave gentleman. There he goes. Now the question is, where is that Imperial Knight? And he's up here. He's just going to town onto that listening post. And have we... Okay, so we do have that. All right, so that is there.
Predator Destructor en route. Securing vehicle. A new drop pod bay is online.
Alrighty. Now we have some very, very brave Devastators. They're going to pay for their bravery just now. The Imperial Knight Paladin, again, these models are so freaking gorgeous. Look at that. Like, how can you not not? I'm not gonna say not be astounded by it, but are you not entertained? Okay. First, here, Makoto, it's gonna toss up her temporal weave, which of course goes and causes stasis in this poor boy. Trying to get set up with all of these Wraithguard, with all of these Dark Reapers, all the kind of material like that. But a very good orbital bombardment coming on in. which means that these Arc Reapers are pretty much dead, if they're not careful. Aha. And bringing in a Dreadnought behind enemy lines is a nice solid way to really, really do some damage. Taking out a couple of Wraith Guard here and there. But now a Wraith Knight is on the field. So guys, we have a super bad, super heavy fight that's going to be happening, and I am just stoked for that completely. Interestingly, not a lot of damage really got done with that attack. And what's more, now that Wraith Knight doing that crazy, crazy kind of cone damage thing that he does with the focus beam, and slowing down enough of the enemy units that James Czar can come on in and just wreck face. Take a quick look at his stats. He has about half the health of our friendly neighborhood Paladin, even damaged. And he also has a couple of ideas here. So Distortion Rift, which goes in to get knocked back slow, kind of material like that. Jump, which you saw a couple of times already, and also has that focus beam, which you've seen a couple of times. And there we go. So we have the super heavies fighting here. He does, like I said, he does crazy amounts of damage. 112 DPS, armor piercing. Now the Dreadnought is being a little bit impetuous here, kind of charging after. I'm not sure it's the greatest idea. We have a couple of Destructors on the field. Well, one on the field, one in a drop pod. And when those guys start to come down, yes, I will admit the Space Marines will be much harder to kill. But even 3,200 health doesn't necessarily mean that everything's going to be fantastic. In the meantime, Wraith Knight is kind of jumping around the field. If they were supporting fire against this listening post, this thing, of course, is not going to last very long. Destructor coming down right here. Kind of a foolhardy idea for me. I'm not sure I'd really be bringing on down this tank so close to all of this elite kind of goodness. Bonesinger does mean a rather messy end, but I imagine this Predator Destructor is going down pretty darn soon as well. But geez, this crazy much damage. I can never really appreciate how much it does. 61 DPS armor piercing. And James Czar actually is forced to back away. The Destructor lives. Ladies and gentlemen, the Destructor lives. That one doesn't, though. Because our Wraith Knight kind of has a very, very sexy, pose at the end of it. Wow. I was super, super quickly taking out that tech structure as well. But where are we in terms of game state overall? So we are 28 minutes into this game already.
Let us undertake the burden together.
And there's a rather, again, stunning model right here. He's getting repaired right now by some of those servitors, and indeed this Wraith Knight's taking some very long range, kind of harassing fire from the whirlwind. I was going to call it whirlwind for a second. I realized I'm really not in the right universe for that particular comment.
Vehicle durability is improved.
Generator is, Dreadnought is up to the north. He's taken out a couple of generators and is now capping out his entire position. And yikes, just saw a bunch of materials starting to get made, but there still is not a lot of Space Marines, and there's a fair amount of Eldar. You just want to check that out? Oop, okay, never mind. I kind of thought there was more than there was there. Several engagements leaving bodies all over the soil, it does seem like. Gabriel Angelo is being supported by the Whirlwind, thankfully, and coming on in onto this Wraith Knight. A good idea. This guy does very little in terms of melee damage. He can fire on the move, which is kind of nice. But does seem
we are in danger of losing a resource point.
It does seem that the Imperial Knight Paladin is far more able to contest the super heavy than the converse.
Our listening post has been targeted by our foes. We've completed an upgrade.
So more than a little bit, of course, is happening over here on this western side. We're going to see a little bit of a push, an attempted bash that goes horribly wrong, as James Czar is now forced to duke it out with Jonah Orion and mistiming her jump. She could have gotten up there, I think. Pretty sure she could have. But does not get the chance to do so. Thank you so much, your short distance jump there. Now here's the question: what she's done to, oh no, she's not even last chancing. She's got blown to pieces there. So well defended by these heavy bolters up on this hill. What's more kind of interesting to me that we're seeing a lot of Space Marines just kind of shift up and around, and the map is slowly becoming more and more blue. Though that is, of course, not going to be all coming up Millhouse. Escalation Phase 4 is still coming in, and Wraithguard being brought on in. And wow, 3 Howling Banshees, 2 Dark Reapers, and there still is that Viper out and about. I'm kind of surprised there aren't more melee materials already on the way to take care of some people like Gabriel Angelos. And frankly, not going after these guys up on this hill has been kind of an issue. There we go, finally going on after them. Stun Bomb goes out, stuns up the entire Wraith Knight too, which is just such a weird thing to see. The thing is so huge, I think one measly little tiny bomb's gonna do that kind of, I'm not gonna call it damage, but that kind of material to him. And there we go, a little bit of a harassing standard has been dropped, just so the shield wall from the standard can be kind of corral in all those Eldar forces. Backing up back to their kind of, not so much ships, but back to their portals, probably a pretty good idea. We're starting to see a growing mech corps coming out from the Space Marines. Yes, guys, you can say, look, what, there's 3, 6, 7 servitors, but they're probably not going to last too long. I mean, those guys are extremely, extremely light, and considering the kind of DPS that comes out from these dudes, yeah, it can be very, very crazy. Meantime, we're going to see all those Banshees are back out. That's pretty darn good here. And the Whirlwinds are attempting just to kind of clear out all of this negative slight areas, as well as taking out what looks like just the debris from previous engagements. Yikes. Howling Banshees are charging on in, but this Destructor was there and more than happy to blow them to pieces. Of course, here comes another Predator Destructor, and I don't think that this Viper is going to get away easily. Yeah, 1 shot, 1 kill, and I think... Oh my gosh, this is going to be a beautifully cinematic thing here. There he goes, exploding now into the depths. Servitor is up here, and he's going to go and engage with Banshees by himself, but then he has a Predator Destructor kind of backing him up. Another shot or 2 will do pretty darn well, and I think we should really be seeing the whole kind of servo skull thing to get vision within the darkness. I think that's what's going to happen with the less healthy servitor. And there we go. Yes, he's going to see them now. So the Predator Destructor is going to do some really good damage, I would think. Yep, 1 shot blows them to pieces. Pretty darn good there. And the Space Marines are charging on in. Okay, so this Imperial Knight is going to be dueling with, it looks like, the Wraith Knight. Now, unfortunately, I'm not sure it's the greatest idea to drop all those Devastators right in there. But there's 3 of them coming on down. Definitely has some nice sieging capability with this. These guys could just kind of hunker down. They're going to have some decent range. They're not going to be able to immediately hit that turret. They can go after the Sky Portal, and just check that out there, guys. That thing is not long for this world. Jonah Orion's getting hit quite a bit. Getting slowed a couple of times, and jeez, he's going to get torn to pieces by the Wraith Guard. And I think these Wraith Guard, okay, they're trying to lure the Wraith Guard in, I think. At least that's the only thing I can assume. But the Eldar refuse to be baited. Ooh, and this is something that's actually really kind of awesome. I know this will actually be causing that excellent, excellent endgame that I promised you guys. He is going to be calling in a rather fantastic counterpunch. So here's the Warrior Portal, guys, right? Just wait a couple seconds here. Any second now. They're all going through the Warway Portal, right? And they're coming right back out down here. How is that for a fantastic, fantastic move? Look at all these troops down here. This is pretty much the entire Eldar army. Pretty much. Not all of it, mind you, but pretty much. Unfortunately for him, that Warrior Portal has gone down. But look at this. He's going to just kind of take out the head of the Space Marine super, super quickly. The orbital beacon coming on down for the bombardment, and might not be able to stand up to all this attention anyway. Indeed, this turret is going to explode. And it doesn't seem to matter what is going on here. Eldar are dropping like crazy. But here we go. This Wraith Knight is just kind of hanging out here, guys. And he's just going to go and put down a curtain of fire that's going to make Jonah Orion wish he was someplace else. Add in now this Warp Storm and Dear Mother of God. Or, no, watch out for the Emperor. Gabriel Angelos, though, will not be denied. He's charging on in. But the power core is still back open. Is he going to take it out? Is the question. So VindicareX is on the ropes. All of his troops on the wrong side of the map. They're marching back now, but it's taking them forever to do it. Last Cannon Devastators are pouring on fire at that Wraith Knight. But thank you so much, Stonewall. You're keeping him fairly healthy here. And here we go. We're dropping almost to 50% health already. Jane Czar is probably going to go down in a second. No, last chance coming on out. There we go. That's another positive stance. And indeed, here we go. It's almost done. The Wraith Knight's they're trying desperately to bring the Wraith Knight into melee, but he's just refusing to go for it. So Nailbiter getting super close. Fit 25%. This guy's going to have last chance as well, won't he? Yep, there we go. That's to keep it Farseer Maka right back at home, so that way there is this last chance. And can he get it? 500 health? No, he can't. And the Wraith Knight goes down with only seconds left before killing that opposing position. Last Cannon Devastators take out the opposing turret, and now what is left for the Eldar? What's left for them? Take a look. We have a Boneslinger and Farseer Maka. Now this brave Last Cannon Devastator, what has he got going on here, folks? Well, he's got 37 DPS, and against the good Farseer, well, I think he's going to be going up to the Emperor's side in just a second here. One more time, and there he goes. But just barely any health left in that power core. And now, to be fair, it is going and healing back up a little bit, but that super gutsy move at the end, that was pretty fantastic. So Wraithguard being called out at the end, and at the same time you're seeing a whirlwind barrage. But Bikerushownz decides that this map, Komet's Pass, will not be his today, and indeed we're going to see VindicareX pulling out what I sincerely thought was a nail-biter at the absolute end of that. So well played to both players. One to Bikerushownz for that interesting use of the webway gate. And another congratulations to VindicareX for holding out, keeping his cool, and bringing in just the right amount of forces to prevent his power core from going on down. But that's going to be it for me today, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Con Ulrich signing off. You all have a great day. Take it easy.